here. I think, yeah, maybe just, yeah, I think, yeah, Elders FM is here. The rest, I'm going to forward them the streams of our conversation, and they can replay them later.
Brenda is coming in.
All right. Are we live now, Sipho?
Yes.
Are we live,
We are
John?
live, madam.
Yes, we are.
All right. We are 3 minutes away. I think we should start. So Brenda has already arrived, so she came in. Josie FM will get us on the way as they are wrapping up. Allow me to greet all the Joburgers. Welcome to the talk with myself once more, the Speaker of Council. We are live on various platforms, such as the City of Joburg's social media platforms, as well as my own page, which is Nongeba Mulwele on Facebook, and at speaker_COJ on Twitter. We are also live on Josie FM until 7 p.m. as they are joining us now, following which we will then take the stream and play it on Elders FM from 8 to 9 p.m. Today,
that will end the frustrations of drivers eager to renew their driving licenses. Drivers must not panic and won't be charged by traffic officers as long as their driving licenses expire between 26 March 2020 and including.
Okay, we'll have to continue. We had to listen to Josie FM entering with a vosho. So I was saying today we are also joined by Radio Islam and Eastwave FM. We also welcome Chai FM, who will stream the show tomorrow morning as per usual. Tomorrow, Thursday, from 9 until 10 in the morning. Thank you very much to all the community media who continue to partner with us on this very important initiative of the City of Johannesburg. Greetings to our civic education partner, Dr. Fundile Nyati, all the guests that are present on the platforms, all radio stations and partners on platform, viewers that are online, officials and leadership present. Today was a very busy day in council, ladies and gentlemen, as we launched the Speakers Debating Cup in partnership with the Pan-Africanist School Debating Council. This is a pilot program that seeks to involve young people of high school, those who are high school going age, in the business of council and to amplify their voices in council business and in the fight against unemployment, in the fight against inequality and poverty. So, why the Debating Cup? I think most of you viewers are actually asking why the Debating Cup. Decades of academic research have proven that the benefits that accrue because of engaging in debate are numerous. Listeners and viewers, we know that debating can, you know what debating can do for young people in particular. We know that debating can develop leadership skills in young people, that it sharpens focus. It allows for young people to better research and to better at their research capacity. It enables young pupils to be able to articulate concepts and ideas. It improves their public speaking skills. We saw them today, the way they were articulating during their debate. It enhances their critical thinking and critical analysis, and thus it improves their ability to argue for and or against certain ideas. It really does groom them to be all-round level-headed leaders of now and of the future. The idea is to bring on board as many partners and many young people as possible in this program. So I thought it a great idea to bring this initiative onto the community radio platforms in order to bring more awareness to our communities, more awareness to our young people, principals, school governing bodies, and parents, etc., but the society at large. So today I am hosting the head of the Johannesburg Student Council, Ms. Brenda Andrews, as well as our partner in this initiative, the Pan-African Schools Debating Council, which is represented by its Vice President, Mr. Itumeleng Mohanwe. We also have the young people who are in the Johannesburg Student Council on the platform, as well as the young people who were involved in the debating cup this morning. Before I hand over to Mr. Hans, my partner, Colin, let me start by asking Ms. Andrews to tell us about the Student Council and the work that it does, and the partnership between the city and the Pan-African Schools Debating Council. Just tell us why this partnership, why is it important, and as well as why is this program important, for the development of young people in our city. You have been working with the Johannesburg Council for some time or over time now, Ms. Andrews, but why this partnership in particular? If you could just inform our viewers and capacitate our viewers so that all of us as a society, we are able to mentor and to support our young people of the city of Johannesburg. Over to you, Ms. Andrews, before I hand over to Colin.
Good evening, Speaker, and all the guests present here tonight. Speaker, I think the idea with the partnership with the Pan-African Debating Council is that we acknowledge that government really can't do everything. We need partnerships if we are to develop the youth and if we are to take the city forward. The main objective of the Student Council is really to develop leaders. The objective of the council is to give the young people a voice in the matters of local government, to help them to gain an understanding of how local government works. Leadership is extremely important. We are hoping that through all the skills and knowledge that the learners acquire during their 2-year term of office at the Student Council, that they would one day be able to really give positive input into the running of the city. Like I've said before, partnerships is very important. As the Joburg Student Council, we really can't do everything in terms of skills and knowledge development. There are already existing organizations that's doing excellent work. And all we are doing through our partnership is really acknowledging this excellent work and really trying to partner with them in order to achieve our objectives. We always say that local government really can't do everything. Partnerships are important, and that is really why we have decided to take this partnership with the Pan-African Debating Society forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrews, for that information. Let me hand over now to Mr. Hans. Mr. Hans, you are muted. Josie FM, you are muted.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Just rectified that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the opening remark of this is Brenda Andrews, the manager at Johannesburg Student Council, and also introducing Itumeleng Mohanwe, the senior vice president at Pan-African Debating Council. And thank you so much to my colleague, Councillor Nomneba Mulwele, the speaker of council. Maybe we should just extend this to the senior vice president of Pan-African Debating Council, which is Remuno, just to have an opening remark. Remuno, can you just do an opening remark to this debate? Remunewa?
Itumeleng Mohanwe.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah.
We just need your opening remark to the topic today on radio.
Oh, great. So the topic was, this House believes that the Johannesburg Student Council's policies or proposed policies should be enacted. And basically, that topic was actually formulated by the president of the Pan-African Schools Debating Council, Mr. Nyikombenze. And basically what she wanted was for learners to be able to discuss whether it actually was legitimate and justified by any means for student counselors who are of school-going age, who are 16 and 17, usually between the grades of grade 10 and grade 11, to propose certain policies and have those policies actually enacted by senior counselors. And I think I really truly appreciated the response that both Councillor Molwele and Councillor Roberts, who were present at today's debate, said that, well, I mean, it actually could be quite a viable idea to have that kind of youth voice and that kind of youthful voice, particularly from kids who are school-going, particularly from kids who are of school-going age, to be able to be given that kind of voice on these particular platforms, especially if it's got to do with citizen participation, because of how important it is for them to be listened to and to be taken seriously as school-going kids.
Now, to both our participants, maybe the question that is relevant would be, why is this program important for development of young people in the city of Johannesburg and adjacent areas? Maybe we can start with Ms. Andrews.
Thank you. The program is very important for young learners. I think we have realized that they do have a voice and they must be included in matters of local government. We want learners to exit the school system having an understanding of what local government is and how it works. We are hoping that through the skills development in our program, that they will be taking our city forward in the near future. And when we look at the recent developments in terms of the fees must fall and so on, we now realize that these are discussions that need to happen while kids are still at school. And the Johannesburg Student Council creates a platform for this vibrant discussion on a number of issues. A platform that may not necessarily be provided at the schools that they're attending.
Now, Itumeleng, you can concur to this because of what we've seen the slow pace of debates in schools. I don't know, is it because of the situation where we are, or because of we find most people are actually getting to debate constructively in private environment. Some are doing it selectively because of the calendar of the school, where you have to just select somebody who's just talkative and say, you're going to do the debates. How are we going to reignite the spirit of debating as in public speaking and all that? Itumela, maybe you can give us a lead on that.
Look, I think when Councillor Molwele spoke in her opening remarks tonight, she mentioned something very, very important when she spoke about schools and school principals and school governing bodies. And that's because, and the reason that's very important is that a lot of the time, the perception surrounding debating, the perception surrounding debating as a sport and as an extracurricular activity is that that's exactly what it's just seen as. It's seen as this, as the separate, different, extra thing that kids have to do either after school or on a, on a weekend. They don't see it as a subject carrier or a carrier of many of the learning areas that these kids are doing in schools, and that's where the problem usually is. I mean, right now, you look at kids who are brilliant essay writers, kids who are brilliant analysts, whether it's in history or in English or analyzing a piece or a cartoon or anything of that sort, the way they engage with material. And that's because debaters themselves learn to engage with material at nuanced levels and at different stages where they know very well the importance of those particular materials. But I think also, like I said, it starts mainly with understanding that debating is not that other thing. So it's not like football. It's not like like netball. It's not like drama. It's a subject carrier. So whether you're doing maths, you are applying some form of debating skill, or you're doing history or you're doing geography. To a greater extent, it is that particular skill that you are engaging with. And the reason for that is that usually in debate, we always say that there are three things that we look for, when we judge you. And the first one is content, whether or not the content that you actually bring into the table and that you're formulating and you're analyzing debating is actually properly, analyzed and properly brought to the table the way it's supposed to be brought to the table, with correct analysis and correct issues as well as forms of backing up, asking whether it's important, whether it's true, whether it's relevant, and what the true impact of that particular argument is. The second thing that we look for is obviously the aspect of style. The kind of stylistic speaker that you are. Are you loud? Are you not loud? Are you using correct language? And even though you're using correct language, to what degree does it actually influence or affect the way you're putting out the argument for what it is? And the last one is strategy, and something that's very important that we teach in debating, that not a single subject teaches, even in school or even in university, is something that we call strategic insight. And this is where we teach kids to learn to become strategic, to learn to become strategic thinkers and strategic thought provokers. And this is both inside and outside of the classroom. And that is why in most cases, again, the perception then becomes quite negative, especially with learners who do debating, who are able to challenge, and justifiably so, teachers and adults at home, or sometimes it's at churches, on some of the ideas surrounding, things that challenge our democracy and so on, and where kids just go, but that's not the way to go, and that's not the way to do it. But do you think that you're democratically justified in doing and in saying things like 1, 2, 3? So it really just depends on how schools see it. To be fair, some headmasters and headmistresses see the value, in it, but to a great degree, and this is what we were discussing with Councillor Molwele today, together with Councillor Roberts, that we'd like to see this, spawning as far wide as possible, within all the regions of the city of Johannesburg. All the way from Midrand to Orange Farm, and to try as much as possible to infiltrate those spaces and to ensure that all those learners in all of the in all of the schools around the city of Johannesburg are actually quite involved. Yeah. So that's that.
Brenda Andrews, would you like to take a bite on that before I engage the speaker?
Thank you. I think I concur with Itumeleng. The main aim is really to catch them while they are young. We want them to start participating while they are still at school, so that when they do exit the system, they have quite a fair idea of what is expected of them as active citizens within the city. So we want to catch them young. We want to educate and impart the skills while they are young, so that when they do lead the city in the future, they know exactly what is expected from them. Thanks.
Now, since the Speakers Debating Cup was launched this morning, what was your experience of today's launch? Let's hear from Itumeleng.
Look, the experience was... Look, the feelings varied, but I think it was all good feelings across the board. The teachers loved it. The children loved it. Both the opposition as well as the proposition, they loved it. Different councillors that were there loved it. The different student councillors that were there loved it. The judges engaged very well with the content that the kids were debating as well. I think even the team of the of Madam Speaker loved it as well. We would have loved to have a greater audience present, but because of COVID as well as COVID regulations, unfortunately, we couldn't. But yeah, that's that.
Speaker, let me bring you back on this issue. I always say to educators and professionals that it is very certain that you find that money is spent on other subjects. To say much emphasis are given to mathematics and, even physical science, but you're forgetting that the language used there, it's English. Maybe much money must be spent in, preparing young people to have word power and just to survive.
True so, Mr. Hans. In fact, we all know, and we could hear from Itu and Ms. Andrews that debate helps learners to see the power of deploying rational, reasoned arguments and compelling evidence in action. And we saw that this morning, where students were actually articulating how democracy should unfold, their understanding of democracy. And, so that's why I'm saying debate is the most important thing. And also the increasing evidence that we saw this morning from the students, and the way they were engaging, the way they were active, you know. So we saw really the higher order and critical thinking skills from the students this morning, from all the learners that were debating this morning. In fact, I was sitting there calling and saying, wow, this is how we can improve the Johannesburg Student Council, because what came out of those debates were actually shaping the future of the student council in the city of Johannesburg. They also made us aware that, you know, there are areas that are not aware of this program, this very important program. Information dissemination is actually not happening, and not everybody understands what the student council is. So they have actually shaped our program as well, a program of action going forward in terms of working with young people of the city of Johannesburg. So we really have to invest on this.
Councillor, what can the winning team share with us and the young people in Johannesburg about the preparation that goes into preparing for this debate of this magnitude? Maybe we can bring in Brenda Andrews.
Thanks. I think at this point, it would really be good to bring in some of the young people. They are on this platform tonight, and I'm sure they would love to share their experiences.
Throw in some, you know, I'm running out of time because I've got 7 minutes. I would love to hear voices. I would love to ignite this good spirit of, you know, public speaking. Throw in one young person. I don't have the latitude of knowing who's online, who's already.
Okay, I see Dalila Spinazza is on. If Lily, if you could please just put on your mic and to the Josie FM people here, please.
Hi you two. Hi everyone. Okay, so in response to like your question about preparation for the debate, it comes down to teamwork. And ultimately we had to make compromises because we have school and everything going on, but it was about coming together and really using like resources, like researching about the Johannesburg City Council, thinking together deeply about the situation, about the governance of Johannesburg, and ultimately thinking about what was the best thing we could say given the situation.
Look, I would love you to activate the video. I would love to see the video. But then maybe the question should be, I mean, you know that we are not the same. The dynamics of political history, I mean, even the language barrier. I mean, if you have peers who wishes to actually engage you in this wonderful platform, and maybe you can motivate them to say it's never late. What will be the strategy to just build capacity, Dylan?
Well, ultimately, I think it's about the coaching people get and the resources they're able to use in order to build capacity.
All right, Itumeleng, you can come back just to close this for us and give motivation to the young people of the city of Johannesburg.
Yeah, I think also just on behalf of the Pan-African Schools Debating Council, together with the Office of the Speaker and the Johannesburg Student Council, all I'd like to say is, I mean, watch the space. There is a lot that we're planning, underway with regards to this particular program. All schools in the city of Johannesburg should watch out. There's a lot coming. There's also a little bit of a hint that I, in my speech this morning that I, touched on when I spoke, and I looked at Madam Speaker, and she spoke to Sisin Tlaga, but I was actually very happy that it was actually, received with quite a lot of positivity. But there's a lot that's going to be coming, particularly with regards to ensuring that there's a lot of engagement with the youngsters themselves, as well as the engagement across all of the schools in all of the regions in the city of Johannesburg. And like I said, all the way from Midrand to Orange Farm, we're here.
Now, Itu, we should also realize that there's different languages that we are proud of in our region. Maybe we should also look at it to say, how will we then actually have the same energy, spread across the languages? Because what's important is understanding each other and have a dialogue so that we can even create a space where people can be the best interpreters of language.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't quite catch that. Sorry, I was a little off a bit. Can you please just repeat that, please?
I'm just saying the wonders of our languages. You know,
Yeah.
I suppose we can even create. I mean, you remember well that 2010 we missed out as a nation where we couldn't even interpret for internationals. Now, maybe the case should be, are we going to empower these young people to be firstly proud about their home language and build on that, as in build capacity of understanding other languages like English, to say, I can express myself and I can take a knock. You know, if I debate with an fluent English speaker, I can still understand and actually be critical on the issues of responding in my own mother tongue.
Of course, definitely. And I think also when Dalila spoke earlier on, she spoke, I think, on the aspect of the coaching as well as the resources or the resourcing. And I think the City of Johannesburg, as the Pan-African Schools Debating Council, the Office of the Speaker is going to arm us very well with the ability to arm and to coach these kids all across, with regards to knowing very well what how to, one, use language, two, what type of language to use when debating, but also not forgetting the reason debating exists. But also remember, this is just the language is just mainly a tool, and we're moving into the direction of wanting it, to have the ability to debate in all of the 11 official languages. In fact, there was a small pilot project that the PSDC had started working on between 2019 and 2020, which was something on debating for in South African Sign Language. And then because of COVID and all of that, that was kind of already falling into the cracks. But I think perhaps we'll pick it up. But that's something completely different. But definitely we understand where the issues are with regards to wanting to ensure that everybody gets the opportunity to be heard, regardless of the language that you speak.
Thank you so much to my colleagues, and I would call you colleagues because we have to push this thing further. And I like it that you're emphasizing the basics and fundamentals of having these young people to engage, because once they have the word power, they can debate in any language. To you guys from my side, because that's all the time we had. Brenda Andrews from that's the Pan-Africanist School Debating Council, and also Itumeleng. And now I'm going to give back to my colleague, which is Councillor Molwele, the Speaker of Council. Councillor, I'm done from my side.
Thank you very much, Jozi FM. Siyabonga re lebogile go menagano Jozi FM, liba mamedi ba Jozi FM. I hope all of us, we will really work very hard in supporting our learners and encouraging our children to engage in debates, as we have had botlhokwa ba go debate. Maybe before we go any further, let's hear from our viewers. And when we come back from our viewers, Doc, if you could have a word to the learners, let's hear what our viewers are saying, Sipho.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Monday to Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. on Jozi FM.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The first one coming from Tebogo. Tebogo says, how do we get involved in the Speaker's Cup? The second one from Victoria says, is this competition open to other schools in poorer areas as well? If so, how can we get a hold of the organizers of this Speaker's Cup? James says, well done, Madam Speaker of Council. This is an excellent program. So those are the three comments so far, Madam Speaker. I'll read more questions or comments later on. And if I can ask to also appreciate, Madam Speaker, that we are live on Eldos FM at the moment. And thank you very much to all the other broadcasters who are here who will be taking the stream. And if I can ask one lastly, Madam Speaker, that at the end of our broadcast, if everybody can switch on a video so we can take a photo of everybody who's attending this session. Thank you very much, Madam.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our viewers. We really appreciate. But into I go niwa. So even those who want to come and hack our program, we are determined to educate our citizens, and we are determined to do this civic education to our young people. Doc, do you have any comments before we can give back to the students and Ms. Andrews?
Well, I think I listened to to Itu and also to Ms. Andrews talking about the benefits of kids taking up debating. Now I'm going to take it from the other angle. When I went to medical school, I mean, I had good grades to get to medical school, but I can tell you that in that 6 years of being in medical school, I would find it very difficult to actually stand up, put a question to a lecturer, only because I wasn't confident in my command of the Queen's language. And what I would do is to then follow the lecturer, at the end of the lecture to ask a question, because I was fearing that I would embarrass myself. Now, can you imagine then, how many kids do not take full advantage, of the opportunities during lecture rooms? As a result, they don't get the best results that they would get had they been able to stand up without any fear, without any lack of confidence or low self-esteem. So the point here, I'm actually confirming that it makes a big difference to actually learn. Also, kids can pursue politics, they can pursue law and all of those things based on the skills, and I'm just using those, but it could be any other profession. It gives you confidence, ability to interrogate, content and to articulate content. The only other issue I was going to ask was around vernacular, because English is not the only language, do they take into account, the skills, teaching the skills, even if people are debating in the vernac. But that's about all from my side.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much.
There's another virus, so I'm gonna get rid of it again.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you, and thank you for that alert as well. We don't want anything that is going to spoil this important discussion about the debate and capacitation of our young people, for them to gain confidence. I know what you are talking about, where you are afraid to express yourself, especially in the Queen's language, and this is really bringing about that kind of confidence. Brenda, maybe if you could just respond before I go to the learners, because I still want the learners to share their experience. I'm going to call Waverly and as well as the winners from St. Mary's. But before that, if you could respond to the questions by our viewers who are asking how to go about in terms of joining or participating in the Speakers Cup, and also whom to contact. If you could just assist them there, Ms. Andrews.
Thanks, Speaker, for that. I've noted the doctor's questions as well. In terms of how do we get involved, I'm going to ask Itu to share his information, since they're the Pan-African Debating Council. I'll share my email address at the end of the session as well. And then there was another question of whether it is for all schools, especially in the poorer areas. And I now want to say that there's going to be a purposeful drive to involve less privileged schools in the debating cup. The aim is really to twin a privileged school with one that's less privileged, in order to assist in terms of skills development, the basic principles of debating, and so on. So we really don't want to feel that schools can't participate on the basis that they're less privileged or they do not have the resources. I think this is where a serious discussion will take place between myself and the Pan-African Debating Society. But thank you so much for those questions. Really, everyone can be involved. In fact, we do encourage all involvement, and we will share those details at the end of the session.
Okay. Thank you very much. Itu, do you want to add on that? On the questions posed both by our viewers as well as Doc?
Yeah, I think when we even proposed this to your office, Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if you do remember. Like Brenda did say that the aim was definitely to try as much as possible rigorously to bridge that gap. Yes, the program is definitely going to be available in less affluent or poorer areas, for lack of a better expression. But I think also the main purpose is to try as much as possible to infiltrate those spaces, even by fire, by force. I think a question that the host from Josie FM actually, brought in quite importantly as well. Number one. Number two, I think again going back to the aspect of African languages that Dr. Fundile just mentioned, as well as the importance in that regard. So I think it would be very, very interesting again when you see that kind of bridge, the bridging of the gap between the types of environments that we have. But also again, debating is one such space, and to a large degree in many provinces and in many cities, you do see that polarization. And I think the Pan-African Schools Debating Council is one such organization that tries as much as possible to prevent for such a thing to continue to exist. So yes, definitely, and we will definitely share all of those details with regards to how one can join. Of course, I mean, you need to be a school in the city of Johannesburg. You need to be a high school going learn and all of that. I mean, if the speaker's office is going to see the need to take something like this down into the primary schools to infiltrate it, then by all means. But I think again, just to see and how small we could actually start. But I think this launch in itself shows how daring the speaker's office is and how the speaker's office has been. And I think it's definitely a brave step, especially because it's been a long time coming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Itumeleng. Maybe let me ask Nhlaga as well to add there on the accessing of the debating cup.
Madam Speaker, I think before I get to that, can I ask us to identify Tiniko Mbenze? Her hand is up.
Oh, all right. I didn't see the hand. Okay, Tiniko. Tiniko, also
yes,
share your experience.
Yes, thank you, Nhlaka there. So I just wanted to add on the conversation around language and what we're working towards when it comes to that. So what I'd like to say is we do recognize that for a lot of kids, English is not one of their primary languages, nor is it a primary medium of instruction at the schools. So in that situation, we do need to bear in mind that while training these learners, that we need to, use their language, but also remind them that when you are debating, you do debate in English because it's the language that most speakers understand, especially in the world, even when they go and do other debating tournaments throughout the region, throughout the continent, and throughout the world. A lot of the debating tournaments are in English, but a lot of the persons aren't English speaking. So it does cater for second language. But when you explain the concept and you say particular words and you're training the kids in their language, a language that they understand, then they have less of a hurdle to deal with when they are thinking about what it is, the content that they're going to say, when they're thinking about how they're going to structure their arguments, how to bring forth their points. And it also brings that boost, that confidence boost, because they already know what it is that they want to say. And maybe the only hiccup is, what is that word? But once you already have outlined your sentence and people get the context, that one word won't necessarily create a hiccup. And if sometimes you don't know how to express something, if you do have, that coach who can assist you because they firstly understand your language, and the complexities of your language first, then it's easy for them to explain concepts to you. Plus, we create an environment where the kids themselves have the confidence of speaking to each other in their own languages and not just in, let's say, English, because they now have that sense of pride built in with their own languages. So those are the things that we want to do, boosting, pride in who you are, pride in your language, the diversity that a city such as Johannesburg has, not just with South African languages, but, a lot of African languages, that diversity, but also allowing the kids to, easily switch into English when they need to make those points.
Okay, thank you very much, Tiniko. In fact, your presentation this morning as well was very powerful, and your passion on this really helps everybody here. So I still want to hear from the winners, from St. Mary's in Waverley. I still want to hear from them. What was your experience, Dr. Nyati?
Haley and Nyasha are online, if they could respond.
Oh, sorry, Doctor. I thought you were calling. Yes, Haley?
Hi. I really enjoyed today. I thought that it was really cool to just be able to engage with different people and like to really just talk about like why youth voice is so important. I think that this initiative is just really cool of being able to empower youth and like being able to let our voices be heard. So yeah, I just had a really great day and was so glad that I was able to be involved in in the launch of this initiative.
Wow, thank you very much. I could see the happiness when you are receiving those cups there. And who else? Farai?
It was Nyasha. I don't see her. I think she got disconnected. Farai, is Nyasha with you?
She isn't with me right now, but I can go fetch her.
Please, can you, if you don't mind? Thank you very much.
Will do.
All right. Sipho, do we have any comments in the meantime?
Maybe I can just add a comment, Speaker.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, and maybe what I'm going to say may be a bit far-fetched, but, you know, again, during the tertiary, you know, the time I was at tertiary, you know, we had students that were doing law, you know, and some of them were already doing postgrad in law. And obviously, they were much more able to articulate their vocab on the, you know, with the Queen's language was much better than, you know, the medical students. And so when there were student body meetings, you would have a situation where, you know, they would dominate, you know, those kind of meetings. But what I would then find from some of our guys would be that because they were not articulate enough, some would get angry, you know, and want to be physical and not debate and not argue. Now we have a situation in South Africa where we've got a lot of GBV, you know, and sometimes, this is my theory, you know, you'll find that some of the guys are not able to argue out, you know, a point with their partners, and they just get angry and they get physical. Yet all that is needed is to be able to argue out points, you know, and you throw in patriarchy there as well, you know, it becomes a bigger problem. So what I'm trying to say, the skills of debating, you know, are skills that are not only for classroom, but in the everyday life, being able to convince people with rational thinking about whatever that you believe, you know, needs to be, you know, argued, rather than, you know, just saying, oh yeah, just because now you've got, you know, good command of the English, you're looking down upon us and stuff like that. So the point I'm trying to make is sometimes the inability to debate creates a situation where people choose to be physical.
Yes, indeed.
Councillor Nyasha is here.
Okay, Nyasha, can you please share your feeling as a winning school? How did you feel and what was your experience? Just to share with the viewers and the panelists.
Oh, yes. Sorry for my previous absentia. But I really did enjoy the experience. I thought what was particularly interesting was really just interrogating the mindset of the youth. in terms of what their current drives and goals are, particularly in regards to the compassion they really have for different identities and the different issues surrounding those particular things. So I thought that was something that I really found valuable and valuable takeaway from the entire debate. And I think it was just such a privilege to hear various different views on topics surrounding the youth and what they actually fight for. So I really did enjoy the experience, and I thought it was a great privilege to be a part of.
Wow, thank you very much. I also enjoyed the debate. You know, I wished we had more time to just go on and on and on, you know, with the debate. And now we are going to work towards the end. I'm not sure, Sipho, if you have some comments from our viewers.
Yes, I do, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much to everybody who's watching, who's commenting, and also just to appreciate to all the listeners who are listening through the community radio stations that are partnering with us. Also, just to start with comments here from Tolagele, says, good program indeed. And Sfiso also says, lovely program. There's a comment from Mavis who says, this type of initiatives are so important, Speaker. Good work to you and your team. Kutrano says, I wish more young people could join and get involved in such initiatives. The last one from Debza says, I fully concur with what Dr. Nyati has just said. So those are the comments from my side. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's hear the last words. Maybe let's start with Ms. Andrews. Ms. Andrews, how could you motivate our young people to participate in the debates, as well as participating in the work that the city does? This morning, we spoke about the process of community-based planning and IDP and the importance of a young voice in shaping the future of the city. So just as part of your wrapping up, how would you then motivate our young people to participate? Is Brenda still here?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think just in response to the doctor's comments, I know that we come from a generation where children should be seen and not heard. And I think through the imparting of the debating skills, we're really hoping to change this. And I think this must also start, the debate must really start at home level, where kids should really be given a platform within the home to share their opinions about current, whatever's happening currently. And I think this is where the debate starts. So that by the time they do reach school, by the time they exit the school system, they're really able to confidently share their opinions and make sure that their voices are heard. So debating really should start at the home already. Good platform. In terms of how we're really going to get everyone involved, I think the opposing team of the debate really posed a challenge to me this morning of how I'm really going to market this program to ensure that we have as many kids in the city of Johannesburg participating. In terms of the debate, I think this will be easier. Myself and Itumeleng will sit and we'll look at exactly how we're going to ensure that nobody feels left out in this drive that we have started today. So once again, I'm quite willing to share my details. I'm hoping that Sipho will share it at the end of the program and really just give the young people an opportunity to participate meaningfully in our democracy. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. I agree with you. Debating should start at home. It shouldn't be like the olden days when we were young. You wouldn't debate with your parents because they would tell you how disrespectful you are. You know, how do you argue or debate with elderly people? So yeah, it should start at home. Thank you very much. Itumeleng, your parting shot.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I think the most important thing, especially with regards to what's been asked, with the participation as well as participating in the program. I think for now, the best way to get into contact with us in this regard is just to, I think, just email at what's panafricandebates@gmail.com, and to perhaps send a WhatsApp or some sort to 081-754-4660. The Secretary General of the Pan-African Schools Debating Council is actually the one managing those two platforms. We will definitely get those in touch with with Brenda's office as well as the Student Council's office with regards to understanding the the relationship that has to be created. But we want as many schools as possible, particularly in the city, once again, to take part. And like Brenda said, for nobody to feel left out, to ensure that this relationship, between the council as well as the schools to continue to grow, and not for anybody to feel left out. And that's great. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those parting words. Tinyiko, your last words.
Oh, sorry about that. I would say that we're very excited, about this partnership with the city of Johannesburg, and we're excited with working with kids from all the different communities, different classes, different backgrounds, different languages. I mean, myself and Itu are quite multilingual when it comes to South African languages, because I mean, we personally felt the need to speak to people in their own languages, and that's what we want to teach the high school students of the country, the upcoming youth. Be comfortable in who you are, not learn other people's languages, not only for their benefit, but for also yourself, so that you can understand and be able to make friends better. But also this helps you, develop your critical thinking skills in a very fruitful way, because you learn the different nuances of how language works, and you learn how to communicate with different people, so that we can be more of a loving and respecting nation, where we each tolerate, not necessarily, actually no, not tolerate, where we each accept each other and not tolerate, because acceptance is the best form of growth and love.
Thank you very much, Tinyiko. Thank you very much, Doc. Do you have the last words, parting shots in this great program of this evening?
No, I think I've had my say. Yeah, but I think it maybe the other side of the coin, as the younger people are being taught these skills, we may have a little bit of a challenge, because they become much more assertive, and some parents may find it difficult, because it's like, they ask why, and some parents, they find it difficult to respond to the whys, so maybe parents will need to be empowered at some point as well to cope with an empowered young person.
Yes, indeed. I can imagine those wise and young people being inquisitive, from as early ages at a primary school level. Thank you very much, colleagues. As we close this debate, firstly, I want to thank all the participants, starting from this morning, from planning your arguments, because I know it was not easy to plan your arguments. Some of you didn't necessarily agree with the topic, but you had to stage that argument even if you don't agree with it. Choosing your words wisely as you did, debating really helped us, for us to plan a way forward, especially as the city of Johannesburg, under the directorate that Sis Brenda is working at, to plan a program of action on how to go forward and how to enhance our communication with the young people. But I must say that debating is by no means the same as entering into a full-on argument. So you really taught us this morning, you know. So we have to develop ourselves, Nati, so that we get used to debating and we learn from our young people. So we won't be bored when you ask us questions at home. I agree with Doc. We need to do education on parents. We need to mentor parents on how to cope with inquisitive kids, you know, with children who want to know everything. We have to empower them and we must tell them the truth. Because when you lie, they can say that you are being economical with the truth, and they will tell you what the real issue, that the real thing is. Because when they ask a question, it's not that they don't know the answer; they do have answers. And if you don't give correct answers, they will provide those answers. So we must assist our young ones as early as at a primary level, and encourage them to engage in debates. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this in a Venek, but it means time is against us. Time is an enemy. I wish we could have more time and more young people engaging. But with those words, I want to appreciate everyone. Sipo has requested that we show our videos so that Sipo and our media team can take pictures. We have community radios present. Eldos FM is streaming live. We really appreciate all our local media and Chai FM, who will be streaming tomorrow morning. We appreciate Josie FM, who participate every Wednesday. All our local media, and we call upon more and more local media to work with us. Dr. Nyati, we appreciate you, Pele. We were listening to you even during the week. I think it was yesterday, if not Monday, where you were on ETV, you were being interviewed. The Office of the Speaker told all of us to switch to ETV so that we can listen to you. They said Doc is on interview. Can you please, all of you, listen to Doc, what he's saying? So you really empower us. We get empowered every time you speak. We are encouraged and we appreciate you. All our students present, all our partners, we thank you very much. I see there are people whose videos are still not on. Portia, Ropa and Angel Kukuletu, Fares, if you can, let's see those beautiful and handsome faces. Let us see those beautiful and handsome faces. And with those words, we really thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, everybody.
Speaker.
Ropa and Angel,
Tembelihle and Bongs, Portia, Nwabisa, Naps. Nwabisa, you are a citizen in this program. You must show your face.
Okay, good afternoon, Madam Speaker.
Afternoon, Nabi.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Zandile. Good afternoon, Pash. Yes, Ropa and Angel.
Kimberly and Bongs. Please, guys, let's do this quickly. There are people who just don't want to show their faces.
Yeah, maybe they are struggling in Makosazana.
All right.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Speaker.
Okay, someone says my laptop doesn't have a camera. Bongs' laptop doesn't have a camera. Sorry, Bongs, next time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good evening, everybody.
Night.